Awesome. Hello? Okay, there we go. Good evening, everyone. Thank you guys for coming out. So we're going to get the ball rolling. I want to thank Edison's for the pizza tonight, and you guys for coming out in the rain. So just a quick agenda for the evening. Not a heavy set. Mainly going to be meeting a couple of the board candidates and asking them a couple questions. And then just from us, so OCI has officially released the RFP. We're going to be going through a strategic design, as well as trying to form a strategic plan. The deadline for those submissions is the 18th, so we really just want to get this process going as quickly as possible. Then a quick updates just for what's going on. So we have the election next Thursday. We have 2 polling locations, one on Lorraine at our office, the other being at the Riverview Welcome Center. The hours are posted 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. at our office, and then 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. at Riverview. The 25th is the Family Fun Walk, so a couple different locations across the neighborhood. Come out. It's a lot of fun, even if you don't have kids. Just spending the afternoon with everybody. And then that Saturday, if you haven't yet, we're giving away free trees, so be sure to sign up and come get a tree. All right, and then I'm going to pass it off to Helen Smith for Meet the Candidates.
Thank you, Brendan. Welcome, everybody. You never know with baseball teams when things like this happen, but you all are going to be on film, so people will be able to go to ohiocity.org and look at your presentation that you're giving tonight. So even though we don't have a crowd here, they're all home watching TV, or they're down on Carnegie Avenue at Public Square, East 9th Street. So the rules for tonight are 2 minutes per candidate. They're going to appear in alphabetical order. Those that were unable to attend, some have submitted, pardon? Just Gigi. Some have submitted statements, others have not. So we will go ahead and begin. First candidate was Whitney Anderson. Is Whitney here? Oh, wonderful. Come on up, Whitney. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, because then we'll as soon as everybody's given their presentations, we'll have a question and answer period too.
Hello. Hello. Hi there, my name is Whitney Anderson, and I've been a resident of Ohio City since 2017. I moved to Cleveland over 15 years ago, and I've always lived on the near west side. I grew up in the city of Tampa, Florida, and after college, moved to Cleveland to get my master's in urban planning. My specializations included economic development, quantitative analysis, and my thesis project looked at what makes public spaces work or not. I worked for RTA for a bit and have other nonprofit experience, but I pivoted to working in operations for small, growing businesses, mostly in creative fields. I now have my own business in art and design and own a collective studio in 78th Street Studios, where I support other female-owned small businesses. Earlier this year, I was appointed to Ohio City's Design Review Committee, where we vet projects that impact our neighborhood's built environment. I've also been on the other side of review, as my husband and I built our home on infill land and managed the design, build, and permitting processes ourselves. But even before submitting plans, we first met with our block club to get their feedback and have been active members ever since. While I love the historic nature and amenities of the neighborhood, I've really come to value our community most. Everyone here loves Ohio City and wants to be part of making it better. But I think it's important to sometimes be critical and provide constructive feedback and solutions. That's how new ideas are made better, and that's why I want to be a member of the board. While I have an understanding of policy and planning, my activism has taught me how to navigate systems and how I can be most effective. We deserve an organization that communicates timely and accurately, bridges the gap between city and residents, and ensures that all neighbors are considered. I strongly value transparency and hope to be another voice for residents who feel unheard. I'll do my best to seek practical solutions that minimize unintended consequences. I really believe that balance and compromise can foster a neighborhood for both longtime residents and newcomers. There's no either or. We can respect history and move forward.
Thank you, Whitney. Anybody that builds on landfill and gets all their own permits has been through the ringer of City Hall, so God bless you. James Simmons is our next candidate. James?
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me? Okay. My name's James Asimus. I've lived in Ohio City for about 11 years now. Also went to Ignatius when I was younger as well. Came back here after college and lived in the neighborhood since. My wife and I purchased a home a few years back in Ohio City. Older row home, fixed it up, and we're raising our daughter there now. And I have my own small business down the street here in the neighborhood as well. My background's in real estate, construction, and finance. Have done a few projects in the neighborhood, as well as some others on the near west side. And most importantly, I believe in the mission of Ohio City, Inc., and I believe that it's an organization with constrained resources, and so I hope that my expertise can help the organization deliver a mission that can provide the most good for the constituents in the neighborhood and continue to be a key cog in why Ohio City is a good, enjoyable place to live. So, thank you.
Our third candidate is Gigi Benjamin, and Gigi is unable to be with us and asked me to give this presentation that she sent over via email. So, Gigi's statement is as follows. I'm sorry I cannot be with you this evening. Well, not too sorry, because I'm on a ship in the Aegean Sea. I'm seeking a third term on the OCI board to continue working with this vibrant and exciting community. I've been active on the board as chair of the governance committee and a member of the finance committee. I've attended most of the OCI community meetings and contributed to and volunteered at OCI's fundraisers such as Casino Night and the Golf Outing. In short, I've been very involved in Ohio City Incorporated and our community. As a retired lawyer, I often get the really exciting jobs like revising OCI's Code of Regulations. But my background in economic development and public finance helps me understand the growth in our community and the challenges such growth brings. This community is really fun. I've met many of you as I walk my two annoying little white dogs or sit in my porch in the early evenings greeting you as you walk by. I appreciate the diversity of our neighborhood in terms of background, race, economic status, and one of the things I've tried to work on while on the OCI board is to include all of our neighbors in our activities. My husband and I are thrilled to see so many families with children. It means we are all invested in Ohio City. Thank you for your consideration and continued support. Gigi Benjamin. Okay. Yeah. She's in the Aegean Sea, and we're in our own sea here. Brian Daly is our next candidate. Is Brian here? Come on up.
What's up, everybody? I'm Brian Daly. I've lived in the neighborhood for a little over 6 years now. As an architect, I've had the opportunity to assist residents and businesses in the neighborhood envision their ideas in both personal and professional capacities. In a professional capacity, I've worked with the City of Cleveland to develop initial ideas for their future vision of the West Side Market and Produce Arcade second floor event space. And in a personal capacity, I've helped develop drawings for a resident-led initiative for a dog park at Novak Park near the Carnegie West Library. My passion to contribute to and grow the neighborhood has manifested itself by developing several personal ideas to improve underutilized publicly owned land in the neighborhood. Those ideas have been shared with the City of Cleveland, Ohio City Inc., and publicly at Pachakacha and YouTube. I'd be happy to share that link if anybody is interested in those ideas. All this is to say, I'm running for the board with the goal of contributing my skills and experiences as an architect to the neighborhood by collaborating with residents, the city, and stakeholders to preserve the sought-after characteristics of Ohio City, advocate for the residents' desires, push forward the area's economic development, and steward future development of the neighborhood. I'd be happy to chat with anyone after we close tonight. Thanks.
Our next candidate is Caroline Dillabaugh.
Hi everyone, my name is Caroline Dillabaugh and I am thrilled to be running for re-election for the Board of Trustees for Ohio City Incorporated. I've been lucky enough to call this neighborhood home for the past 3 years, and it's been a really wonderful place to live and work. I currently live on Bridge Avenue and have had the opportunity to work on some development projects in Hingetown as well as support small business development in that little chunk of Ohio City as well. Serving on the board for the past 2 years has been such an incredibly valuable and incredible experience. I jumped in to fill a vacant seat midway through the term, so I feel like I'm just really starting to get my arms around the work that we're doing and dive into what I feel like my contribution to the board can be. We're at a really exciting transition point with Ohio City Incorporated, welcoming Jane onto our team as the interim director, and we're just putting a lot of work into that strategic plan of what the vision of Ohio City in the future looks like from Ohio City Incorporated's point of view. So I'm really excited to kind of provide some expertise, support, and feedback on what that strategic plan looks like and really help shape and be involved in kind of where we're going as a community. During my time thus far on the board, I helped to reassemble the Economic Development Committee, which had disbanded during the COVID kind of time period. And I currently sit as the chair of that board, really focused on helping support Ohio City Incorporated with their goals around economic development. I'm really passionate about kind of our retail plan and what we're doing to bring small business here to Cleveland or here to the neighborhood, and how we kind of create a vision for a strong economic infrastructure in the community. I feel like that's super important to our vitality as a community as a whole. I have a background in small business development and community engagement, and so I feel like that is a huge asset to the board just for insight, feedback, and all that jazz. And then finally, I am a renter in the neighborhood, and I understand some of the everyday challenges and experiences of being a renter, and I feel strongly about kind of supporting that voice in our neighborhood and on the board. And I just want to be a good neighbor and support everybody and hear their voices. So just really looking forward to the opportunity to be reelected and help support the work that we're doing. Thank you.
Our next candidate is Chelsea Knowles.
Thank you, everyone. So I'm Chelsea Knowles, and I am so excited to be running for board. A little bit about myself. I'm currently the Senior Director of Development for Cleveland Clinic, specifically for cancer. I'm really excited every year that Velasano runs through our beautiful neighborhood, and so not only are we raising money for cancer, which is part of my job, but personally I get to show off my neighborhood to all my colleagues, family, and friends, and show all the different local businesses that have come into play, show all the change to people, especially those who haven't been in our neighborhood for a while. I have a master's in public administration, so during my time in graduate school, I really dedicate myself to economic development and what makes a healthy neighborhood. I actually served as a student trustee for Kent State University during one of their biggest times of economic growth. If anybody has been to Kent, Ohio in the recent past 10 years, you would see a lot of town and gown development between the downtown and the university. Which was one of the coolest experiences during my graduate years, actually got to work on something that I was going to school for. Not only that, I used to be a numerator when the census came on for Ohio City. For the entire United States. I wanted to make sure that our voices were being heard, and I had extra time during COVID because I wasn't having any extracurriculars that I normally would be doing, such as pickleball or whatever, because things were shut down. But I wanted to be able to help our city once I found out that our numbers were so low and was preventing us from getting more funding. And then overall, just have been here for 5 years, been a renter. I moved from Ann Arbor. Don't know if that helps my case or hurts my case. I'll leave where I worked and was at for you to guess. But I really enjoyed my time in Ann Arbor, and when I came back to Northeast Ohio, I was like, I have to live in Cleveland. If I'm working at Cleveland Clinic, I just want to live in the city, and fell in love with Ohio City. I just think it's so great. It has everything to offer. I walk 4 miles daily, so I get to know all the businesses, all the places. If you've ever seen me walking around, please stop and say hello. I hope to bring to this board my expertise in fundraising. I'm sorry. Oh, I guess I'm up, so.
Our next candidate is Christopher Martin.
Hello, my name is Chris Martin. I am running for the Ohio City Inc. Board of Trustees because I believe in giving back to my community. And Ohio City is my community. I've lived on Monroe Avenue, south of Lorraine, for more than 5 years. In fact, I've lived on the near west side of Cleveland most of my adult life. And in all that time, I've given my time and efforts to various block clubs, river sweeps, public advocacy, and door-to-door outreach. I'm qualified to be on the to be an OCI trustee because I have the experience I've gained from my direct involvement in the neighborhood, and I am qualified because of my academic and professional background. I am an attorney with a master's degree in public administration. I've also previously worked for a community development corporation. Should you elect me, I want to tackle several issues facing Ohio City. With my limited time here, I'm just going to mention 3. First and foremost, I am determined to ensure our neighborhood is welcoming to all. And this means OCI must take a strong stance in favor of affordable housing wherever possible. As a renter, I empathize with those getting pushed out of the neighborhood because of rising housing costs. Second, cognizant of the history of community development corporations in this city, I am keen to be a part of the strategic planning process that may see the merger of OCI and Tremont West. This is an especially important moment in the history of our neighborhood, and I want to be a part of steering the ship toward clear waters. Third and finally, as a car-free Clevelander, the pedestrian and cycling experience in Ohio City is especially important to me. I will vociferously advocate for safe pedestrian and cycling infrastructure, and I understand the tantamount importance of quality transit service within the neighborhood and as a connection to the rest of the city and region. Thank you. Vote Chris Martin.
Joshua Monaco.
Hey everyone, so my name is Josh Monaco. I am a resident of Ohio City for about 5 years. I live on West 47th Street. I've lived over in the Hinchtown area as well. I moved to Cleveland probably about 8 years ago. It was supposed to be a temporary thing for me. And then once I fell in love with Ohio City, I couldn't leave. So you may see me around with my dog Tater walking the streets around here. My background in my profession is I'm a creative director for a fit tech company, but I come from the advertising background. I worked for a big Cleveland agency for a long time and worked with clients both big and small at a global and a small business level, doing mostly website, digital, and social communications, improving and elevating brands, doing a lot of rebrands and making sure everything reaches its full potential and goes beyond that. So since I've been in that profession, I've also done a little bit of small business consulting for organizations and small businesses in the neighborhood, and that's one of my favorite things to do. So what I have to say about Ohio City is that there's so many wonderful things happening here, and there's so many wonderful things that are to come, and I want to make sure everyone knows about it. The community is fabulous, and I want to make sure that all the ideas coming out from all of these individuals are elevated and maximized to their fullest potential. I want people to know about it through the means of accessible communication and the best communication, the newest ways possible. So yeah, that's pretty much my elevator pitch. So thank you.
Our final candidate, Georgia Palma.
How about now? Can you hear me now? Okay, I'll start again. Congrats, guys, for stepping in and running for the board. I look forward to working with all you guys. You're very smart. I'm George Palma. I am married. That's my number one job. I'm going to say that again. Can't say that enough. My wife, Lavina Palma, was born and raised in Ohio City. Quite honestly, she should probably be running for this as well. She knows every nook and cranny, can tell you everything, and there's so much that she has taught me about the neighborhood that I'm still amazed to this day, and we've been married for 21 years. I have sent 2 boys to St. Ignatius High School. They then went to the Big Apple. Big brother went to St. John's University, graduated, now lives in North Ridgeville, married, kids. He's doing fantastic. My little guy, Adrian, he's currently at St. John's University as well, and he's a sophomore having a blast, and I wish he was here to see me because I really want to instill this sense of duty and service to the family. And that's what I think is the most important thing about living in Ohio City, that we pass down values like this. I come from an immigrant family, and my parents immigrated to the United States, and I have truly lived the American dream. I have been a business owner with a couple of technology companies. I'm also in technology, and I also live on 47th Street. And so I have done a couple of exits in my life, and I focused a lot on my career. Now it's time to give back, been there, done that, and I'm here to help. So how can I help? Working with folks like the ones that are running now. I'm an entrepreneur, and so my job is to solve business problems. So what we have to do is figure out what problems are we trying to solve, and then find the people and the neighbors and the family members that can help contribute to solve those problems. Some of my initial observations are, the illustrious Ohio City Incorporated brand is an illustrious brand. It's been around for a long time, and it needs to be reinvigorated, and I can help with hiring marketing folks and advertising and getting the word out. And my biggest passion is increasing revenue so that we can take all these great ideas and make them a reality. That's what I'm here to do. My name is George Palma, and you may not see me walking around the neighborhood because I wake up at 4:30 in the morning and nobody's out. But love to meet everybody in the room and out there in the neighborhood. Thank you very much. I look forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidates. We have a wonderful, talented group. This is not going to be easy to make a selection for our membership. For questions and answers, or the answers are up here, the questions are out there if anybody has any. For any of the candidates. You guys are getting off easy. My question would be, how do we keep the mix of cultural, economic, racially divided, mixed neighborhood that we have now? How are we going to maintain it?
Well, I'm just going to take the first shot at answering that, and I will say, part of my background is, I'm bilingual candidate. I speak Spanish, and I have been blessed to travel the world in the military. I was in the United States Marine Corps, and I've been all over the world, and my wife and I have had the opportunity to live in New York City for a year for work. So Manhattan is the most diverse city in the world, and we took a lot of those learnings, and I think those could be applicable here in Ohio City because we have so many great things. So get the message out, and I think engagement is not enough. We do engagement. I think getting the word out is not enough. We need more engagement, I should say, and that's use technology and use mindshare, and that's how we get it done, in my opinion.
So, I would say there's probably a lot of organizations in the Ohio City community that exist that help with that. I would like to, I would make sure that everyone knows about it. Everyone feels safe in that area. It's a very, very, so many businesses in this area appeal to all different types of cultures. It's a very welcoming area. So I would say absolutely safety is key, just to make sure that no matter what happens, no matter where you are, you feel safe.
Christopher?
Intentionality. That's how you're going to achieve anything. If you set out with the goal of ensuring diversity, equity, inclusion, then you can achieve it. But you need to have that as your goal. And, this neighborhood is one of the few in the city that has seen any sort of rising population. And that is amazing. I love cities so much. I want to live in a thriving city. It would make me a happier person. But we need to be intentional as we, pursue economic development, as we cater towards the folks that are moving to this neighborhood. We need to make sure, we need to be intentional that we maintain a focus on those that have been here, and those that are often the marginalized communities that are often left out. We must include them, and we must be intentional about that.
Thank you. Chelsea?
Is this? Okay. Can everyone hear me? Okay, cool. I think, the focus needs to be absolutely on accessibility. I think Whitney might have said it best, that we need to be prepared to have those hard conversations. There's been a lot of positivity talk about Ohio City, but we all know that there's negatives to where we live as well, and how do we keep, those negatives at a minimum and not over big things like affordability, about safety. When you think of accessibility, we have to think of it as a multifaceted word that, that everybody feels comfortable living here and not just one type of person. I see a lot of new developments going up. They're very, very expensive. I feel fortunate that I live in the Federal Knitting Mills building, which is one of the last older buildings that has decent rent. Maybe isn't the fanciest, but, it's very affordable. All sorts of families live there, all types of people live there, all sorts of professions. And that's what I think makes Ohio City great, is the diversity of our neighborhoods all living side by side. And I think, you know, in order to do that, we have to be, like, you know, Chris said, very intentional in our efforts. We have to be talking about it. We have to be criticizing ourselves. We have to be having those open conversations, working with different nonprofits and other organizations to make sure that we're getting the resources we need for the people that we have. That's something I've done in terms of, you know, writing grants for both state, local governments, as well as for family foundations and other nonprofits. Making sure that, you know, Ohio City is not just good for the people of today, but of tomorrow. As a person, you know, who has a partner who's moving up here from Columbus to be with me, we look to have children in the future. You know, this is a place that I want to raise our children in. I don't want to move out to the suburbs. This is a, you know, vibrant neighborhood that has a lot to offer, but we still need to make sure it's a neighborhood then for everyone as well.
Caroline.
Yeah, so I would say it's really listening to the needs of the current community and making sure that we're hearing those needs and using our resources, especially as Ohio City Incorporated, to leverage different avenues from working with the city, grant writing, all those types of things to help support individuals and members of the community that might not have access to meet those needs themselves, and kind of closing the gap between where we are and where we need to go. And I think really it's in the board specifically, it's maintaining, I think right now we have a really wonderful mix. It's a very diverse board, which I think is a great representation of the different members of the community, and just ensuring that those voices are always heard and that we're doing our best to, when there's a hard conversation or there's a need of a member of the community or you know, a group, that we're honestly taking that and we're doing the best of our ability to support them, listen, and, you know, if we don't have a plan or we don't have a current action plan, that we work with different organizations, nonprofits, that type of stuff to really meet those needs, and just always be listening with intention. I think and we can all go back to that as well.
Brian.
Yeah, I agree with like everybody's points so far. The intentionality and the affordability. My mind immediately went to the affordability aspect. If we want to maintain the diversity within the neighborhood, I think money is a big contributor to that. With the amount of development that we've seen and the products that we've seen brought online, you know, there's people that want to keep their families here, but then we're getting priced out, or the products that are being put online for apartments are not allowing those families to maintain and grow the neighborhood here. And being able to build on that, we need to work with those other organizations that work to provide the accessibility to the funding and planning and community outreach to understand how all those parameters get put together so that we can make sure we maintain that diversity.
Whitney.
So I'm in a funny position where this is the nicest house and maybe one of the least diverse places I've ever lived. So to me, Ohio City is a little bit more monolithic, both racially and socioeconomically. I think that there's been a lot of effort around economic development, and I also want to make sure that we separate that from real estate development, because they're very, very different. And you know, I don't want to compartmentalize those things. Real estate development is definitely great when we still, you know, we do still have some infill opportunities here in the neighborhood, and yes, there are opportunities to increase density and the benefits of that. But I kind of want to look a little bit more internally and think about sort of like the hierarchy of needs of people. You know, are people sheltered? Do they have access to food, to kind of basic necessities? And even things like making sure our streets don't have potholes, which make them unsafe, and that we feel safe in our neighborhoods, and the education is there. It's a very holistic approach, and I think that essentially most people, no matter their background, want the same thing. It's just, you know, whether or not we have access to it. So yeah, I wanna kind of peel back and go back to basics a little bit. Would be my
James.
Thanks. I think Ohio City Inc. is a great conduit and advocate as an organization. They're a great conduit for prospective businesses looking to find a new home in the neighborhood, a great conduit for current businesses, helping to understand what kind of incentive programs are out there, both at the local and at state and federal level. It's a great advocate because of its access to quickly reach the residents of the neighborhood. It's an advocate in being able to identify and highlight a lot of the great aspects, both in terms of bringing a business here or in terms of what's available to residents here. And so I think those two things are key to what makes it successful as an organization.
Any other questions from the audience? We want to thank our candidates. You all are terrific. Thank you for your presentations tonight. Remember to remind other members to come out and vote on Thursday, the 24th, at the OCI offices right on Lorraine Avenue. So our thanks to each of you for taking the effort and time to be a part of this great organization. Good night, everybody. Thanks for coming.